Hey, everybody. So we are live. Thank you so much for joining me on a wonderful Friday evening. I am so grateful for everybody who joins along and watches this show. Especially on a Friday night, guys. Work week is over. You got 2 days to relax, refresh, and restore yourself for the week to come. But before we even jump into that, guys, let's talk about all the particular stuff that we usually get out of the way. And guys, if you're watching, thank you again so much. Everybody that follows along on the show, you guys make this worth my while every single night. So again, great. So grateful. Thank you guys so much as always. So let's get all the particular information out of the way as we usually do. Let me adjust the camera as well. So guys, if you're watching us on YouTube and this is your first time, do us a favor, hit the like and subscribe button on our YouTube channel. We are building our viewership there. We just crossed the 1,000 subscriber threshold. So thank you so much, everybody who's connected there. And that's the website right there. You can check us out. That's at www.youtube.com/C/made from scratch broadcast, guys. Hit the notification bell as well. If you're on the website, it'll give you notifications whenever we do drop new content, whenever we schedule new live videos, and whenever we are live on YouTube. So drop it down in the comments if you're watching. Thank you so much if you're on YouTube. And we also stream, of course, on Facebook. So you can check us out on Facebook at www.facebook.com/made from scratch podcast. A little bit different on Facebook, but if you're on the Facebook page, thank you so much, guys. Hit the like button, follow along on the page. And you want to send me a request to a friend request, I accept just about every single one of them. Even if you're a Forex cryptocurrency trader, I will at least take that on for a little bit, entertain the idea. So connect with me on Facebook if you're watching there. And you can connect on my personal page at Gabriel Leal on Facebook. And of course, if you're watching on Twitter, we are streaming live via Periscope on Twitter and at our handle at MFSB Live on Twitter. So thank you so much. If you're watching on Twitter, do us a favor, follow us, and I follow back on Twitter. So if you're watching there, thank you guys so much. And of course, on LinkedIn. So if you're on LinkedIn, guys, you can connect with me. We are streaming live right now, and you can check out my page there and send me an invitation to connect. I connect to just about everybody. And I try to reply back to all my connection requests. So if you're not connected with me on LinkedIn, send me a connection request. And thank you so much if you're watching on LinkedIn. And of course, you can check us out on our website at www.madefromscratchpodcast.com. You can find links to all our past episodes, our podcast version of the show, and of course, we do have an internet radio station that is running right now. So guys, check us out. Go to the website. Thank you so much if you're watching there as well. And of course, guys, as always, you guys make this show so wonderful. And just like my friend, Mr. Russ Johns, so Russ is what I call my mentor. So he is the guy who kind of started me down this path of learning and doing live streaming. So if you're not connected with Russ, check him out on LinkedIn, Russ Johns. You can go to his website as well. I'm going to give him a little bit pub at russjohns.com. You can check out the Pirate broadcast, airs Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. Arizona time. Always great guest on the show, great community. I am a pirate myself. I've been on there and been meaning to catch up with Russ to get on there again. So thank you so much, Mr. Russ Johns. You're the best. So let's get into this evening's guest. She is very interesting. My friend, Mike Pedrano, who is into wanting to learn and change the education system. He found this interesting. So I'm going to talk about her. She is a mathematician. Her name is Dr. Nall, and she helps students around the world decrease their stress and anxiety in learning mathematics. So she has a different technique. She's practiced what they call the emotional freedom technique, and we will go into that a little bit deeper. She's an advanced certification and practitioner in EFT with training in trauma and quantum tapping. So tapping is an awesome subject as well. I want to get into that as well. So guys, and she's excuse me about that. She's also been a TEDx speaker. So I will put the link in the comments, guys. So you can go watch her TEDx talk, which again, that's not easy to do. They don't hand those out just to anybody. So you got to have a little bit of, you got to have a little certain thing about you for them to reach out to you. And then, of course, you can check her out at her website at www.nall, that's Nall edge, co.com. So you can check her out there as well. So guys, do me a big favor and help me welcome to the show my guest for the evening, Dr. Katie Nall. Thank you, Katie.
Thank you, Gabriel. I'm so excited to be on your incredible show.
Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate this. So one of the things that I was very interested in whenever I started researching into your bio and that sort of thing was the fact that you do the EFT technique, right? So how did you get certified in that? And what was the thing that you kind of, what are some of the things that you learned doing that you figured it would help you out in helping math students conquer their stress and anxiety? Kind of walk me through that process a little bit, because I'm always interested in learning about that.
Well, Gabriel, I only recently went for and earned my Ph.D. in mathematics education. I work at
awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you. I work at a college, and we have so many students who come forward and say, I want to earn my degree, and all I have left is one class, and I know what they're going to say.
Right.
Can you imagine what they're going to say, Gabriel?
I can imagine. I can imagine what's coming.
It's math.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, that's great. You saved the best for last.
Right?
That's not what they're thinking.
Oh, of course, right? It's like, dreading.
These are students who have done very well, Gabriel, in every other subject. And when it comes to the idea of math, I mean, I can sit there and watch them, and they have physiological reactions where the red just comes up and covers their face, or they start wiping their hands from the sweat that's on them. They could water my plants in the office.
Wow.
And people physically get ill just saying the word math. And I want to run to them and say, okay, I've got to get you out of this. What should I say? History, psychology, English?
Right. Something.
Right. Something other than math. It terrifies so many people. So when I was doing my research for my dissertation, I wanted to find a way to help, especially adult students coming back to school, to have them complete their degree so that they can show the world that they are college graduates.
There you go.
So in 2010, I started looking for ways to help math students overcome anxiety about math and testing. And Gabriel, do you know what I found?
What did you find? Tell me that.
Nothing. There's nothing. Nothing.
I was going to say.
Nothing to help with math anxiety. What they say is that the students have to study harder, that they have to get a group together, they have to have a different mindset. And I can't even get these students to register for class, none less go to class.
Go to class, right?
Right, yeah. So I said, no, this is not going to work. So I dropped the idea of looking for a way to help students overcome their anxiety about math and just started looking for how do people relieve anxiety in general. Mm-hmm. And that's where I found Nick Ortner's Tapping Universe. It's a 10-day summit that he offers every year, and it happened to be the year 2010 when I captured it. And every day he would interview somebody different, and it was always about tapping. And I was like, what is tapping? I have no idea. But of course, I was in research mode, right?
Yes.
So I'm looking for solutions. I'm reading all these papers, all these studies, see what I could find. At that time, there was very little clinical research on the effectiveness of tapping. Yeah. But what I did have is a handful of very desperate students.
Right.
And when you're desperate, you will try different
Right.
things.
Things. Yeah. Your mind opens up to so much more, right?
Right? Right? Being desperate is not a bad idea.
You know?
Yeah. So I had these desperate students, and I'd listened to the summit. So I went online, I bought the book, I bought the CD, I taught myself all this process, and I thought, well, what do we have to lose? These students are ready to give up anyway. And I had a few students who were willing to try it out. We tried it out, and Gabriel, student after student, came in and said, I got an A in math class. I've never gotten an A before.
Wow.
Yeah. And then there was one student, Scott. He came into my office. He was a great, big, tall guy. He pretty much filled up the entire, frame, right?
Yeah.
And he came into my office, and he put his hands on his hips, and he says, Dr. Nall. And I said, what? And he came and he swooped me up, and he gave me a big bear hug, and he said, if I never would have gotten through my bachelor's degree. And I'm like, okay. He says, if you hadn't shown me that voodoo stuff.
Right? Oh, wow.
It does look different, Gabriel.
It does.
Mm-hmm. And but what I have found is that students who are open to it and are willing to do it with me and to do it correctly will have success. So I ended up thinking, maybe I should get certified in this, because I'm not really sure if I know what I'm doing, right?
Mm-hmm. Of course.
Yeah. So I went and got certified, and guess what? I had no idea what I was doing.
Right.
It still worked. So I was really glad for that, because I was then able to go back and do more and work with so many different students on such many different levels. Because, it's not about math. People, these are students who are doing well in other subjects. So why would one subject trigger so much? And it's usually about something somebody said sometime earlier, right?
Right.
Okay. So, and I think it was probably one or two things that people said. Somebody along the line have told my students, math is difficult.
Mm.
And it turns out everything is difficult.
It's difficult, right?
Until you know how. Until you know how.
And they probably planted that in the subconscious mind, where math is going to be this, oh my gosh, sort of thing. And wow, that's.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. The other thing that I found my students were told is that you're no good at math. So some guru somewhere along the line, whether it was a math instructor, a parent, a sibling, a friend, a tutor, somebody told them one of these two things. And, they said it once, but, when a guru talks to you, it has a different voice in your head.
Yes, it does.
Mm-hmm. And so this voice was going over and over and over in their head until they started believing it. You don't have to hear things many times before it becomes the truth.
Yeah.
And so helping the students overcome that. And what I found is, all my life, Gabriel, I've been somebody who's been trying to be positive and feeling like, the power of positive thinking, right? I read that book when I was in high school, and I was like, oh, it's got to work. It's got to work. And yet I found it didn't always work.
Right? Wow.
Not always. But what I finally figured out is that it doesn't always work, because you can put positive thinking in once there's room. But if you are filled with negative thinking, negative emotions, negative feelings, there's no room for the positive to come in. And if you think about the word emotion, those feelings that we have, part of that word is the word motion. And so when we have a reaction to an event, because an event is neither good nor bad, it just is, but it's our reaction and how we perceive it that makes it good or bad. And the same event can feel good to one person and bad to another person, but it's the same event, right?
Yes.
And so what we do is, if we have that emotion, if we allow it to go through us and move through us so that we can regain our balance, then we can do things like study critical thinking and math.
That's amazing. And it's, it's such a wonder what happens when you have such an open mind. I find this so interesting, because I've been studying a lot about neuro-linguistic programming, right? And a lot of it has to do with being first of all, being open to accepting new things. And again, you know, what you're talking about with tapping and how that works. I mean, it does seem weird at first to try to do it, but again, you know, I kind of use see my band there, so
The orange one.
I kind of use that as sometimes to pull myself when I'm in certain situations, and I have a phrase to tell myself, "I love you, I love you," and I
Oh,
pop myself, and it kind of again, it's one of the things about learning about the fun things you can do with your mind. You have to stop looking at your mind as just this really complicated instrument. Um, I'm like you. If you take the time to open that space, there's so much room to fill it with great things. You know, that's the one thing that I've heard so many people talk about, that I can never learn how to do this, or I couldn't learn this skill, or I'm like, you'll never imagine what you can learn unless you open that space up in there. I mean, I can't remember the exact statistic, but we don't even use our full capacity of our brains.
right.
So if we don't do that, I mean, imagine how much space is in there, that we can actually fill with knowledge. And again, it's just somebody, like you said, somebody put that block inside their head that has, for some reason, has stuck there, and they've made it their reality that I can't do this. Um,
Yeah.
I cannot, you know, whatever it is. And it takes something like this. I'm pretty sure some of your students have probably used this going beyond just mathematics, you know?
Yeah, good guess, Gabriel. I actually have students who have been able to complete their not only their associate's degree, but their bachelor's degree and their master's degree
Mm,
using tapping. And what I've found is that the students who will allow me to work with them one-on-one, and there are a few of them, we have found that it is things like, I have this situation at home, or there's this other thing going on at work, or, you know, I have this relationship issue. It's never about the math. It's never about the math. It's always about something else. And so once we can get to that something else and define it, and allow it to move through us, then they're open, and then they're like, oh, I can't believe how easy this is. I'm like, yeah, that's right. It's so easy.
so, you know, one of the things that I, again, love that what you're doing is you're helping change the stigma of how we learn,
Yes.
especially because my friend works really hard. He's trying to really look at the way we educate and reform the way that we educate, because again, it seems so one sided, the way that we create curriculums, the way that we create the processes that we teach, and it's and I am of the mind that not every student, like you said, and you've gone through this, not every student learns the same way.
No,
Um,
not at all.
each
And,
it's Go
yeah,
ahead.
and they each bring in their history, right? So it's their individual history. So it is their economic history, it's their social history,
Mm,
it's educational history. And so when you have a group of 30 students, you have 30 different histories and 30 different ways of learning. You know, some are kinetic, some are
mm-hmm.
verbal, some are visual, and so I trying to understand that. And the best thing that any teacher can do is to meet the students where they are and help them get to the next level. And
Mm.
there's a trick to that. I mean, it's really a trick. Now, you know what, Gabriel? If we had taught English the way we teach math, you know, when babies are small and they start just rattling off sounds and
Yes.
trying to repeat what
No.
they're hearing,
Mm-hmm.
and they accidentally go goo goo gaga gaga mama dada, and you go,
Mm-hmm.
oh, you said mama, you said dada, that's great. If we taught English the way we teach math, we would tell our children, You can, mom and dada doesn't count. You can't do that. First, you have to learn the letter A, and then the sounds of it, and then you're going to learn the letter B and the sounds of it. And so we would have to teach them the alphabet, and then because that's the way we teach math. Okay, you're going to have to do addition and subtraction, and then, but children especially are so capable of learning so much more. When my kids were younger, we started talking about Venn diagrams, and we talked about all kinds of different things that sometimes you don't get until graduate level math, because they're capable of learning anything. And what a difference that makes.
It is amazing what the mind of especially when their minds are still growing and formulating, right? This is an awesome thing that I tell people. I said, look, how do you think some children who are born into families where they speak dual languages, how hard is that to accomplish as adults? We put up these huge walls, yet here are 6-year-olds, 7-year-olds, 8-year-olds who are able to speak dual languages and speak very well in both of them. And because their minds at that point they don't have the stigma of, you're not supposed to be learning that. It's hard to learn that. It's the stigma of, this is what I do always. So if we taught the same sort of way, I mean, I love the fact that you're meeting the students where they're at right now and trying to take them to another level, because I think I think that's where a lot of teachers get that roadblock, where it's just that it's going to be too hard for him to learn,
right?
And they throw that stigma in there, and it's believe me, I know I have other friends who are in the teaching profession, and I love what they do. My heart goes out to what they have to do, and especially right now in a time like this, they had to go and create pretty much create new forms how to teach on the fly. So, but again, a lot of good things are going to come out of this. I know it was a lot of difficult for some people, but a lot of good things are going to come about this, because you're going to see why I say some students learn differently than others. So some of the ones that, like you said, that are kinetic, that like to be in the classroom, that are in the present, they love to do the thing. Then you have the student who's probably flourished at this time like this, because again, I'm in a relaxed environment. I have, I still get to go still have to do my homework, but I'm not in the heightened sense of, hey, I'm around other students who are judging me, that sort of thing. So I'm pretty sure you've had students who've taken off. And again, it's a testament to like what you're talking about, necessity, right? That teaches us how the different ways that we can learn, and the capabilities that we're actually, the possibilities of what we can do as in the education system. So my hats off always go out to teachers who are willing to do different things, who are willing to go above and beyond, because it kind of shows that's their passion in life, and that's what they love, seeing and helping other people grow and develop. I mean, I don't know how many you've probably impacted so many students in their lifetime. Who knows how important that's been. So kind of tell me about that. Have you ever had students come back?
Absolutely. I've had chance meetings at restaurants, and students will come up that I may not recognize, and come in and say, Dr. Nall, I was in your class, and I just wanted to let you know I use tapping for this, or I use tapping for that, and so people have learned that tapping is a wonderful way to not just reduce but eliminate stress and worry. And in these times that we're in right now, where we're all trying to figure out so many different things and learning new things, I've had a number of my friends call up and say, you know what, I am feeling some stress right now, and they will book a tapping session with me just to get through these times.
Wow.
And it's been crazy effective. I'm just wondering, Gabriel, would you like to do a short round of tapping and see what it's like?
Yes, most definitely. Let's go for it. We are live, so let's go ahead.
Have you tapped before?
Now, I admit I have tapped a little bit before. I've had a few conversations with a couple of neuro-linguistic practitioners, and we've kind of walked a little bit through the process, because at that point we were talking about anger.
Yes.
And he was telling me about ways to get you out of that mindset. So we did walk through that. So shout out to Eric Miller. He's going to be on the show later on down the line, but he is a neuro-linguistic programmer, and he gave me so many resources. And that sort of, so I've done a little bit, but not really too much. I mean, we've had like just one small practicing session. So kind of walk me through that. How does the process actually work?
Well, the process works, and here's the part that's interesting, because I know you're a positivity guy, right?
I am. I love it.
We don't say anything positive in here. And
Okay.
it throws so many people. My first guinea pig was my husband, and we've been together, it'll be 48 years this summer.
Wow. Congratulations.
Yeah. No, it was a mistake. And we're still trying to recover, but he was my first guinea pig, and I said, okay, so tell me what you're upset about and what we're going on. And he kind of gave me that side look, like, are you trying to trap me again? And I was like, no. He said, for all these years, you've been telling me to be positive. And I said, well, I'll tell you what, Bob, positivity hasn't been working. So we're going to try something different.
No. Yeah, there you go.
So, and one of the biggest complaints I get is, why do we always have to bring out the negative? And that's the part that I explain to people, is that the negative is there. Nobody likes a bully, right?
No.
But when you repeat those statements over and over again in your head, you're being a bully to yourself. Yeah. And so getting those statements out of our head then allows us to bring the positivity in. I'm going to be talking a little bit about that in my upcoming June 15th 4-day workshop that I've got called Fear No Math for middle school, high school, and college students. But what we do is, first of all, we identify the emotion that you're feeling. We're going to gauge it, and then we're going to tap on certain points of your body. And these points are important because they are points that are going to affect different organs. And so Gabriel, I'll ask you, tell me something that's slightly irritating to you nowadays.
You know what's irritating to me, and this is what I brought up as well. I'm a delivery driver by day, so traffic always bugs me. I've been self-admitted saying that sometimes I do get rage. I hate traffic jams. I hate people who don't follow the rules of the road. So if there's a big traffic jam and I see somebody driving down the median because they're in such a hurry and they have to get there besides everybody else in the other 100 cars that are waiting for everybody else, that drives me nuts. That's one thing where I will go, you know what? Screw this. I'm gonna show this guy.
Okay. So when you think about that, about the guy that's going down the median during a traffic jam, from 0 to 10, where 0 is like, no big deal, I'll listen to one of my podcasts, and 10 is the most angry you've been. Where is it between 0 and 10?
I'd say by seeing the second car go down the thing, I'm already at a 6 or 7.
A 6. Okay, 6 or 7. Now, this is a strange question, but from the top of your head to the bottom of your toes, where do you feel that emotion in your body? That tension.
That tension? I feel a lot in my back.
In your back. Okay, good. And the emotion that you feel, you said, was anger?
Anger, yeah.
Okay. So what I'd like you to do, Gabriel, is to start on the side of your hand, and you can use your right hand or your left hand. It doesn't matter. And we're going to tap right on the side between the little finger and the wrist. And we're going to say, even though I have this anger. Thinking about those people driving down the middle median. And I have this anger in my back.
And I have this anger in my back.
And right here, right now, I accept the way I feel. Now, part of this, Gabriel, is everything's got to be true to you. Do those all sound like true statements?
Yeah.
Okay, so if I say something that's not true, correct me, okay?
Okay.
Even though
I
have this anger in my back.
And
Every time I see somebody driving down the median
Every time I see somebody driving down the median
in the middle of a traffic jam,
in the middle of the traffic jam,
right here, right now,
right here, right now,
I accept the way I feel.
I accept the way I feel.
Last time, even though I have this anger in my back
I have this anger in my back
when I see that car going down the median
when I see that car going down the median
during a traffic jam,
during a traffic jam,
right here, right now,
right here, right now,
I accept the way I feel.
I accept the way that I feel.
And then on the top of your head, and you can tap,
Yeah,
right in the middle,
right there,
on the
right
crown of
there.
your head.
There we
And
go.
I have this anger in my back.
I have this anger in my back.
And then right above your eyebrow, right around I have this anger in my back.
I have this anger in my back.
And then Gabriel, on the side of your eye, either side, doesn't matter. I have this anger in my back.
I have this anger in my back.
And then under your eyes, that's where I store all my bags. I have this anger in my back.
I have this anger in my back.
And then under your nose, I have this anger in my back.
I have this anger in my back.
And then under the lips, I have this anger in my back.
I have this anger in my back.
And then on your collarbone, I have this anger in my back.
I have this anger in my back.
And then about 4 inches under your arm,
There we go.
I have this anger in my back.
I have this anger in my back.
Now I want you to blow air out. And then take a breath in and out. So when you think about that motorist driving down the median in a traffic jam, the anger from 0 to 10 is where now?
It's like at a 3. Wow. I actually feel sort of calm.
Now, what we can do is, what you do is you keep tapping until it actually goes away. It's gone. It's gone.
Wow.
They have Gary Craig, who devised this in the 1970s, 1990s, I'm sorry, actually took this into the Veterans Administration and worked with veterans from the Vietnam War. They have been hospitalized and drugged for 40 years. They spent a week doing tapping. Gabriel, they're fine.
Wow.
So for people with PTSD, actually there's a great book called The Science of Tapping that Dr. Ph.D. Stapleton wrote. She's out of university in Australia, and she's done great research. And what they found is throughout the world, tapping is way more accepted than it is in America.
Maybe so.
For so many places have nationalized medicine, and with 80% of the doctor visits being stress related, being able to not reduce but eliminate stress can make a difference for so many people. So it's an amazing technique, and I'm just excited that I'm able to work with students and overcoming their fear of math so that they can be a lot more productive.
Wow. And you know, really, my back was hurting earlier, just because of work, and I feel really relaxed. I mean, that's weird.
I'm telling you, it's magic.
That's weird. That's never happened. Wow. But you know, again, having an open mind to doing something like this, amazing what you can do by something just as simple as tapping your own thing.
Right.
Wow.
And, you know, they have done studies, Gabriel, comparing cognitive behavior therapy, which is talk therapy, which I've been a big proponent. 4 years, once a week, I did it just so that I could try and get some balance in my life, right?
Yeah.
And there's also another methodology called EMDR, eye movement desensitization. There's something else. There's R, I forgot what it stands for. And then tapping, which is also called emotional freedom technique, or EFT. And they found among the three of them that EMDR and EFT were more effective than cognitive behavior therapy in terms of once you tap on an issue, it goes away. It doesn't come back. And I can tell you from 4 years of cognitive behavior therapy that every now and then there's something that kind of pops up, from my background that I'm like, where'd that come from?
Right.
And I've actually tapped on things that I thought I had taken care of and were all done with cognitive behavior therapy, and they are gone. They're gone now. Wow. The nice thing about it is EMDR and EFT are two techniques that work, that have been proven to work. But the difference, Gabriel, is EMDR is something that you have to go to a therapist to, and it's eye movement. So you're moving your eyes around. And the reason why you have to go to a therapist is it could trigger a traumatic effect. And so you want to be with a therapist when that happens. But the beauty of EFT is that once you know the steps, you can do it yourself. And that's where my math students come back to me and they say, Dr. Nall, I use it for this and I use it for that, and all kinds of different things.
Wow.
So, yeah.
And it's interesting because, again, that's a technique goes beyond using it for math.
Oh, definitely.
Wow. That's
people use it for weight release. They use it for smoking cessation. They use it for sobriety. They use it for all kinds of things because, as I say, stress triggers all of these things. And so, wow. Is that exciting?
Fascinating. It is. No, it is. It is fascinating to think that the key to some of our biggest emotional problems can be worked or solved by doing a simple.
Amazing. Francine has been talking about how she's tapped for claustrophobia.
Claustrophobia, yes. So she's been tapping for claustrophobia, and that's a big one, right?
Right.
Because this is interesting. The reason I find it so interesting, my wife has high anxiety.
You should send her to me.
And I would love for her. And the thing is, she doesn't want to get on the quote unquote normal route of medications, where that sort of thing. Because again, I have I have 4 kids here at the house, and some of those drugs that they use, they kind of numb you, and and the fact that that's the quote unquote easiest route to deal with it.
It's amazing.
I've always looked at different approaches to doing things, even when dealing with pain.
This is amazing for pain. Have you ever woken up in the middle of the night and had leg cramps and your leg just kind of tapping? Takes care of them. I had a bee sting. I was walking on the beach the other day and got a bee sting, and I had to stop, and I tapped and I was fine. I was fine. Yeah.
And it's interesting.
I actually have a client, and I have permission to tell this story. I have a client who, now remember, I'm a mathematician.
Yeah.
Who happens to be certified, who's certified in tapping. And when I was working with she was a friend of mine, and she said, Katie, I want to work with you I need more focus at work. And I said, oh, okay, that's fine. We'll set everything up. And I sent her my standard intake form. In fact, she and I are in the middle of writing a book on this.
Oh, wow.
Because I can't promote this because I'm not a therapist. I'm a mathematician.
Exactly.
But I have her permission to share the story, and we are writing a book about this. And so she filled out the intake form, and I looked at it and I went, oh, there's so many red flags. I'm so sorry. I can't work with you. First of all, you're suicidal. You're on 2 antidepressants, and you are seeing a therapist weekly. I said, I'm a mathematician.
Wow.
I cannot do this. And she's very persistent, this one client, very persistent. And she came to me and she said, Katie, you're a friend of mine. I just want to work on getting focused at work. Well, I've been doing tapping long enough that I know it's never just about getting focused.
Right.
There's something else going on. And I said, no, I can't do it. I'm not licensed to do that. I can't do that. So she came back next week and she said, look, I've been talking to my therapist. My therapist approves. And I'm going to tell you that I'm going to be keeping in touch with my therapist and keeping my therapist apprised of what's going on. And I was hesitant. So I talked to my mentor and I said, I'm not really sure. So we worked out, the details on what would happen. And because I had been through trauma training and knew the signals and things, the best thing about the tapping sensations, Gabriel, is that I will tell you, I had the most wonderful counselor when I was going through my weekly therapy. But half the time I would leave there and I would be a basket case. I'm crying, I'm upset, because we've gone through stuff and oops, Katie, your time's up. Gotta go now.
Yeah, see you later. Right?
But what we've learned in tapping is that, yes, we may open up a little bit of the trauma, but by the time the 1 hour is finished, we can pull it back in so that people can be calm at the end of the session and still have a regulated body, which is really important. But anyway, so I worked with her and we worked we had one session a month for about 6 months. And I was very surprised when she announced to me that her therapist is now her friend. I said, well, I don't understand what that means. And she said, well, I thought I told you. She said, I'm no longer on those 2 antidepressants. I've been doing fine. And my therapist has said I don't need to see her anymore as a therapist. She's now my friend.
Wow.
I said, wait a minute. I said, are you sure? Now, it has been 8 months since that's happened. She has had her fair share of ups and downs, which we all have. And we still stay in contact. But you know what, Gabriel? It's getting harder and harder for me to make time to get in on her schedule because she's so focused at work now. She's getting so much done. And she's set goals, financial goals that are higher and higher and higher every month. And she's meeting them.
Amazing.
It's so exciting. Let me tell you, it's really wonderful.
Amazing. This is why I love to study the human mind. It is such an interesting thing to learn about. I mean, it's our greatest muscle and sometimes our most underutilized. And this is why I say, if you are going to start a journey of changing yourself, I think that's probably the first place you should start is just looking inside of here and figuring out what it is that you need to concentrate on. Because again, this is just a story of you have the capability of turning your life around.
Oh, yes.
And it's something, again, simply having a conversation with the right person and showing you what you can do to start changing your life. And this is what I bring. This is why I love doing this forum. Maybe somebody's out there who's trying to figure out, maybe I need to start tapping, or maybe I can. So guys, if you're not connected, reach out to Katie.
Yeah.
She is an amazing person. And again, I love the fact that, quote unquote, she's a mathematician, guys, but there's so much more to her that meets the eye. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about before I started wrapping everything up here in a little bit was the fact that you've done a TEDx talk. Now, yes. These things, they just don't hand out to everybody. So how did the process go? And did you reach out to them, or did somebody reach out to you and say, hey, we've seen what you've been doing. We've, somebody connected to the right person and said, we got to talk to you. So how did that process work? Because again, that's always interesting whenever I get to meet people who've done TEDx talks.
So Gabriel, the answer is yes. I'm also a professional member of National Speakers Association.
Yes.
And at our monthly meeting in Tampa, I was allowed to give a 5-minute presentation on the power of tapping. So what we have discussed in almost an hour,
you're right.
I squeezed into
10 minutes.
5 minutes.
Oh, wow. 5
minutes. But in those 5 minutes and in that audience of 80 speakers, one of them was someone who coordinates TEDx talks in Ocala, Florida. And so she let me know when they were having their auditions and encouraged me to apply. Now, it was a competition. We did have to compete and provide information. And to tell you the truth, I wasn't really sure, how I was going to approach this.
Exactly.
So the first time I drafted my talk, it was really, we had 12 minutes we have to give our talk. And I thought, well, for me to get everything in about tapping and the history of tapping and how it works and why it works and everything in, it should take me no more than an hour and a half.
Yes.
Gabriel, they weren't going for it. They weren't going to give the whole afternoon.
Yeah, right. I can imagine.
Yeah. So I hired 4 different coaches, to try and get it down to a succinct area. And I had a lot of fun, just a ton of fun. And, that year and the year after, I was asked to work with the speakers, the individual speakers that were coming across the stage to help them with their anxiety. And so we had tapping sessions. Yes. So we had tapping sessions for the speakers for the year that I was there. And then I was asked to come back and help with the speakers for the following year as well. And it's really good for performance anxiety. Oh my gosh, it's magnificent for that. So
yeah, so that's interesting because that's the next hurdle for me. Is to get on a stage and have a talk. And I've chronicled this on this show plenty of times. People have heard me say this. I've had an anxiety of speaking in public on a stage since the 4th grade. And I can pinpoint the moment. I've told people the moment.
Gabriel, let's tap on it real quick.
Ooh, let's try that.
Okay. So what was the moment?
Okay. In 4th grade, we were doing a play, and I live in the state of Texas. We were doing a play about the independence of Texas from Mexico. Now, in that play, I was to play the part of General Santa Anna of the Mexican Army. I had one line, right? I had one line to say, and that was fight, and I could not get it out. I mean, here they are, we have 25 kids on the stage. We have the Texas Army, the Mexican Army. We're supposed to be going against each other. I'm supposed to be the general. There it is in front of the crowd, my parents there, other people there, and I just could not get the line out. I mean, I froze.
So, Gabriel, when you think about that moment in time, was it 4th grade you said?
4th grade.
4th grade, and you were General Santa Anna, and you were supposed to say fight. What emotions coming up?
My mind's just going blank. I don't want to. I'm froze. I'm petrified.
Okay. I'm petrified. And from the top of your head to the bottom of your toes, where do you feel petrified?
Ooh, I feel that right here in my chest.
Okay, let's do this.
Okay.
Even though.
I
remember being in 4th grade. I was General Santa Anna. And I couldn't get the word fight out. And I feel petrified right now thinking about it.
And I feel petrified right now.
In my chest.
Right
here, right now, I accept the way I feel. Even though. In 4th grade. I couldn't say fight. And I feel petrified in my chest just remembering it.
And I feel petrified in my chest thinking about it.
Right here, right now, I accept that feeling. Even though. I'm petrified in my chest. Just thinking that I couldn't say the word fight. Up on the stage in 4th grade. Right here, right now, I accept the way I feel.
Right here, right now, I accept the way I feel.
And then on top of your head, petrified in my chest. And then the edge of the eyebrows right above the nose, petrified in my chest.
Petrified in
on
my
the
chest.
side of your eye, between your eye and your hairline, petrified in my chest.
Petrified in my chest.
And then under the eye, petrified in my chest.
Petrified in my chest.
And then under the nose, petrified in my chest.
Petrified in my chest.
And then under the lips, petrified in my chest.
Petrified in my chest.
And then on your collarbone, so petrified in my chest.
So petrified in my chest.
And then 4 inches under your arm, petrified in my chest.
Petrified in my chest.
And then top of the head again. Now blow out your air. And then take a breath.
Wow.
How's your chest feel?
Light.
You know, that is the one word that so many people say. It's like this lightness that comes to them.
Light.
Light.
Remember how I was telling you my back felt tight earlier, and then we did it the first time?
Mm-hmm.
That pain, all that stuff came back when I was mentioning that. I felt that weight again come back. And now it feels weird. It feels light. I've never done this before. This is interesting.
It's cool, right?
Guys, if you've never tried this is weird. I feel.
Do you see what Francine said?
Yeah. So let's see. Yeah, I said the exact word, light. It feels light. It feels
different.
Magical. Wow. This is fun. This is why, again, I did not expect this evening. So wow. This is amazing. So guys, if you know me, I mean, I'm really genuine when I share my emotions and my feelings. I don't hide things. I'm an open book. I've always told people I journal. I do so many things to keep my mind open. I've never felt this way. I can't even think. This is a weird feeling.
So what you're going through, Gabriel, is pretty common. What I would suggest is that within the next 24 hours, whatever water intake you take, to double it. Because what happened is we actually changed some of the connections in your brain. And so water, as we know, conducts electricity. And because everything in our body communicates because of electricity, right? There you go. That increase the amount of water that you have so that those connections will stabilize.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm so excited for you.
Wow.
We didn't talk about this. We didn't even prepare
for this. This was just
it's a bonus.
Yes.
It's a bonus.
Wow. So guys, man, all I can say is reach out to Dr. Katie Nall, guys. If you aren't connected with her, I'm going to put in all her links in the show notes. And again, I suggest you go connect to her Facebook group if you're not connected there. Yes. She is having a workshop, and if you want to put your kids through this sort of thing to help them along, this is pretty awesome. I feel really good right now. And Russ, thank you. Russ is he knows me. He knows how I am, and this is not something I expected this evening. So cool. I feel awesome. And again, the whole thing about it is, I've always approached things with the open mind. So that's why I see people. I know because I've seen friends of mine who've been hypnotized. Because they're so open to it, that I've actually seen them fall into a trance, and they kind of describe it as it's kind of like being drunk without the feeling of alcohol. You feel like you're in the moment, but you just go, it's like somebody else is telling your brain what to do.
Right. And I've hypnotized people as well. I have a lot of different interests.
I can
But
see that. I can see that.
the cool thing, Gabriel, is that there are no adverse side effects to tapping. And if you think about all the things that we do in America, like if you had come into the doctor and said you had back pain, they're going to want to do surgery, or there's going to be pills, or there's going to be, physical therapy or something. But what if we had a 1 hour session and got to the crux of what was causing that back pain and eliminated that stress, and the back pain disappears? What
Wow,
about that?
that is that is fascinating. That is
Yeah.
fascinating to me. I love learning about the human mind, and something like that can really help reprogram how you approach things. That's interesting. Um,
Yeah.
and I find it, and again, I've talked to so many people about um, trying alternative things to just doing what your normal doctor tells you all the time, like dealing with pain is, of course, it's one of them. My friend, yeah. So my friend, my friend Mike knows me. So me and him conversate all the time, and he knows my emotions. He knows how I am. This is again. I'm telling you, Mike. This is a weird feeling. Um, Feeling like you're like, wow, I want to go fly somewhere. I mean, it's, but I feel, again, I didn't expect something like this could be a solution to so many different things.
Right?
And
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah. And now, and just so you know, again, I'm a mathematician who happens to be trained in emotional freedom technique. I've had level 1, level 2, level 3, trauma, and
now,
quantum.
I'm going to tell you right now, one of the things that I love to do is write. Like right now, I feel like I want to go write because I feel like mine is like, ooh,
Right?
open. Let's get going.
Yeah.
And I love that thing because I can use this whenever I get sometimes blocked or frustrated when I'm writing.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
It's
it's amazing for that. Amazing.
thing.
Yeah. Because
This
it's
is
along the lines of the performance anxiety, right? Same
yes.
kind of thing. Yeah. Writer's block is fabulous. Yeah.
Oh wow, this is awesome. I love this. Thank you so much, Katie, for coming on the
Yes.
show. I
Thank
do
you for
appreciate it.
inviting
So
me.
this is I ask all my guests this, and this is the last question I usually wrap the show up with, and it goes along the lines. It might sound a little bit morbid, but I always ask everybody when the book is said and done on Katie, what kind of legacy do you want to leave behind, and what is the one thing you want to be remembered for?
Kindness.
Man, let me tell you what. Um, that is one of the most simplistic answers, but yet one that resonates so much. The woman last night said the same answer, and I said, you know what?
Oh,
That is beautiful. It doesn't have to be
oh,
overcomplicated. It doesn't have to be a long-winded answer, but being remembered for kindness.
yeah.
So Russ, if you're watching, that's what Russ is about. He is a kindness ambassador. He always ends his show by saying these two things. He says, kindness is cool, smiles are free.
Yes.
I have that on. I have a T-shirt that says that I got from him. It's
Wow.
amazing because I love the fact that that's what he loves to push is
Mhm.
kindness, and it's absolute truth in what you're saying.
Mhm.
So, thank you so
Oh,
much.
I just noticed Francine had a note
Oh
there.
yeah, so
Yeah, that I'm helping her daughter
yeah,
with
so
her
she's
math
helped.
phobia.
Yeah, so that's
Yeah.
another thing, right? She's helping her daughter with her math phobia, and
Hmm.
again, there's so much here. Like everybody's, yeah, Kenneth is like just relaxing, right? This just feels good, right, guys? I mean, if you're watching, it is interesting to see. Yeah, so there's Russ. Kindness is cool.
Yes, it
Um,
is.
that's his hashtag, and that's what he loves. Um, he is all about it, and I love the fact that you know your answer and the answer last night that I heard from Amanda as well. It it resonates so much, and it's such a simple thing to do.
Well,
It's,
Gabriel,
it's
you must be attracting it.
I, I believe so much in the law of attraction that you
Sure.
bring back what you
It
throw out
doesn't,
there
it
into
doesn't
the
matter
world.
whether you believe it or not, it happens.
It happens, right? I believe it now even more after what I just went through, folks. So, guys, thank you so much, Katie, for coming on the show. Guys, thank you, everybody, everybody who follows along on the show. David Pollock, Kenneth Dunner, Francine Sinclair. Big shout out to Francine Sinclair for connecting us. Love you, girl. This is awesome. Thank you so much again for coming on the show. And guys, you can check out, go to her website. You can check it out. And then also, I'm going to put in the link as well, the math group as well, where you can go check it out in the links after the show, guys. Katie, amazing. Thank you for the time coming on the show. I don't think I'll forget this episode for a while. Kind of helped me out a lot. So thank you so much. And again, guys, thank you everybody who's been watching the show. Francine's, yes, happy weekend. I'm about to have one. Thank you so much. So, guys, I will be back Monday evening. I will go out and I will put out the list of guests for all next week. But again, same bat time, same jet channel, guys. You know where we'll be. Peace, love, and harmony. Share love. Have a great weekend. Stay safe. Stay blessed. And I'll talk to you again Monday evening, 7 o'clock. Bye-bye, everybody.